Hello and welcome back to Friday Minis. Today we're going to be talking about VGA. Now VGA, which stands for Video Graphics Array, is actually a standard implemented by IBM in 1987. The actual definition of the term actually came with, a lot of additional things that we're not actually going to cover today. These include the 640 by 480 resolution, which was a lot back then, the 8-bit color or 256 color palette, which was also a lot back then, coming from CGA and EGA, which provided I think 4 and 16 colors respectively. But all of that we're not going to talk about. Instead, we are actually going to talk about the actual D connector, which is of course that plug you tend to see behind your monitor, as well as the means of communication between your computer and your monitor through that VGA cable. Now, this might come as a surprise to you, but the communication between your computer and your monitor through that VGA cable is actually an analog communication. Yes, that's right. If you're actually using a DVI or HDMI connection, then there is a digital connection, actual bits are being sent. But if you're using a VGA connection, you are actually sending an analog signal. That of course explains why monitors that are actually connected via VGA need to do this calibration or synchronizing thing, because essentially what is coming in from that cable is actually this waveform which carries all the color information of all the pixels, but it is not clear where individual pixels start and end. And that is why of course if you have a VGA monitor, you get to set things like the phase of the signal coming in, things like the pixel clock. All these are issues that aren't even present if you actually use a digital connection, because of course all the pixels are sent as data. Now, I don't know how many of you are still using VGA monitors. Personally, I actually still use VGA for everything. When I connect my laptop to my HD TV, it is also via a VGA cable. But here's the deal. As mentioned earlier, well, you tend to actually have to calibrate the monitor, set it up to synchronize nicely. And of course, if that process isn't done right, the image looks fuzzy, kind of smudged out and extremely ugly. Which is why, as a bonus for this episode of Friday Minis, I'm actually going to link you to this website, which actually has a pattern of black and white dots that if you actually have that on full screen and you press the auto calibrate button, your monitor will be able to actually pick the best calibration. Why is that so? Well, remember what I said earlier, that basically these settings have to be present mainly because, well, you don't know where the pixels start and end. But if you have a grid of alternating black and white pixels, then of course it's easy to see where the individual pixels end, and that is what your monitor will use to actually give you the perfect calibration. So that's all there is for this episode of Friday Minis. Do hop down to the video description and check out the link if you're actually using a VGA monitor. Don't forget to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. Until next time, you're watching 0612 TV.